when you are loving and when you are kind. No one tells you that there are so many devils in sheep's clothing that will try to come in and create chaos, to make you unwell, to make you unhappy. And we don't realize that sometimes God will be the definitive thing challenging us to be our best self, because sometimes that excess, that waste is the one last thing we need to remove to kick off our life and step into exactly who we are and step into our calling. That is the real thing. The moment I cut off that friendship was the moment that I got my highest brand deal ever. The moment that I removed this person was the moment that my career began to take off. It has to be that way. And I know it's so scary. I know it doesn't make sense. I know it, and it's just like deep down, you know it.
There are so many movies, TV shows, books, videos, courses, articles out there teaching us how to deal with romantic breakups, and not nearly anything on how we heal and grieve from friendship breakups. And today, that changes, because we're going to talk about it and learn from other women's experiences and advice. And just a heads up, my next video is going to be about how we make friends as an adult, so stay tuned for that video. But before we get into it, hey ladies, it's Tiffany Celeste. Welcome back to my channel. I put this compilation together because I feel it's important to learn from each other's experiences to help us all grow and heal and not feel so alone. I also have a free resource you can download, which is my life audit worksheet. It will help you to start evaluating and auditing the friendships and relationships you have in your life and make the necessary adjustments if needed. It's linked for you in the description box below and in the first pinned comment. And if you're interested in content that helps you become your best self by leveling up your mental health, prioritizing your self-care, evaluating your relationships, and creating a lifestyle of ease, then you're in the right place. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and please like the video. Sit back and listen in on these stories and advice from women that have navigated through friendship breakups, and I will give further commentary on the back end of the video with 5 additional points on how to heal, grieve, and move forward from friendship breakups.
I'm going to share with you what the research has to say about friendship breakups, because we're talking about it, but I want to add another layer to the conversation. Let's talk about it with more depth and nuance, okay? We know they suck. We all know that. We've been through them. It's unfortunate. But I just want to share some insights, okay? So the first thing I'm going to share with you is this, okay? The research reveals that we shed about half of our friendships every 7 years, which means that at some point in your life, that there's a natural friendship pruning that happens. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a dramatic fallout, but that, as you move and things change, think about the cycle of 7 if you're into symbolism or numerology at all and all that good stuff. Okay, that's a significant number. So much can happen in 7 years. You go from 7 to 14 to 21 to 20. These are big leaps, right? So for those of us who internalize the breakup, or like, what's wrong with me, or oh, that exposes that the friendship wasn't real in the first place, there's going to be some shedding that happens.
I've heard a few people now say that they're choosing not to have friends. Baby girl, here's a short checklist on how to heal from friendship trauma, because we all need friends. Number 1, ruminating about all the things that you could have done, should have done, would have done is totally normal post-heartbreak. So be sure to give yourself time. However, set a time limit for that, because we're not going to wallow in all that emotion for too long. But of course, the bigger the trauma, the bigger the rumination. The more wicked they've been, the more rumination. Totally normal. Number 2, be sure to regroup with your solid friends. I don't care if that's 1 friend or 2 friends, you know who I'm talking about. Each and every one of us have those people in our life. Well, I hope you do. Focus on the friendships that make you feel most safe. Number 3, it's time to learn. Do a post-mortem on the friendship. And I know that sounds morbid, but it's necessary. You need to see what went wrong and the red flags that you missed. For example, if everyone was saying that friend was a narcissist, but you didn't see it, it's probably time to do a deep dive on narcissism. That way, it's going to be harder for you to fall for it again. Because I feel like in this day and age, everyone throws around the word narcissist, but no one can actually name the 3 traits of a narcissist, besides being selfish. Number 4, boundaries is everything. Boundaries is the holy grail. And remember, it's one thing knowing what boundaries are, and a whole nother thing actually enforcing them. I'll be honest, post-heartbreak, it might take time to get that balance right, but you'll get there. And when someone or something disturbs your spirit, speak up. I don't care if it's in a different setting, outside of your friendships, even just your day-to-day, I want you to speak up. And this is how you train yourself. Long story short, opening up is always going to be a risk, but if you follow steps 1 to 4, it's going to minimize that.
I think we don't talk about a lot is like friendship breakups. and how broken you are after like you feel absolutely violated when you break up with a friend. It's way, and I don't.
It's a different level of trust you got with your friends.
Exactly. It's not even really comparable to a romantic breakup, because like your best friend, your girls, your friends, or even your guys, I don't know, from your perspective, they know stuff about you that don't nobody know in the world. And for it, like, I feel like now we're so quick to jump into friendships, and we need to spend time actually developing them just like you would a romantic relationship. Because when shit hit the fan and y'all fall out, not this girl didn't tell everybody all your business, when in reality you didn't do the vetting process enough. You was like, oh, she like on Instagram, let's all link up and hang out. No, what is she like?
Has the friendship itself died, or has the version of it that you were most attached to died? And could you invite yourself to let a new version of that friendship be born? I have dealt with the pain of friendship breakups, and then sometimes I've realized this doesn't have to be the end of the friendship. It just has to be the grieving and the death of the version of it that I thought would be the case, the closeness I thought we would have, the role I thought we would play in each other's lives. That has died. But in the fact that I'm alive, they're alive, I'm 28, I may live till I'm 90, like I could have a chapter 2, 3, 4, 5 with this person. I just have to let go and really grieve and sit in the pain of the fact that who I thought we would be to each other has died. And that is so painful. And I use the word death because I think it's something that, especially in Western traditions and cultures, is not really acknowledged as part of life. Like the idea that things are always living and dying at all times, which is something that I think within Buddhism, for example, is very prevalent. And I've really adopted that mindset. But what it has allowed for me is, okay, although I do grieve, it's like painful. I'm not saying that it's been, I've cried, I've hurt. It's been so sad to say, wow, like, look we're not even in each other's lives anymore in the same way. But does that mean we're not in each other's lives, period? Or does it just mean that version of our closeness has died, and what is coming into fruition is the next phase, which is maybe a restful phase. Maybe we're in our winter season, and that could last months or it could last years, but that doesn't mean spring won't come again. Like, I really believe that some endings are the end, and I accept that. And I think it's really healthy that not all friendships need to last forever. And at the same time, listen to what I just said. Not all friendships need to last forever. The incarnation of that friendship, has the friendship itself died, or has the version of it that you were most attached to died? And
heard this term from this girl on TikTok and it made so much sense to me. It's called quiet quitting a friendship. You can only give so much to people who are not reciprocating the same energy back to you. I'm in my 30s and I have learned a lot about friends over the last few years, and I've definitely had a handful of friend breakups. It is so hard to find good friends, and honestly, we're at a time in our life where we just like don't have time for bullshit anymore. And I also feel like some friends just have crazy expectations, and you just kind of get to a point where you realize that like maybe you aren't aligned anymore. And breaking up with a friend is like weird because it's not like a romantic relationship where it has to end because you're seeing other people. But it kind of just has to slowly fade because you're realizing that you're not prioritizing each other anymore. I think the hardest part about friendship breakups is that they're not treated like actual breakups. So most of the time we don't have closure conversations, even though I know that closure comes from within. But usually when an actual like romantic relationship is ending, you have like multiple conversations leading up to that event happening.
When y'all talk about friendship breakups, I want y'all to start distincting between a friendship breakup / fallout and simply just growing apart. Whenever I hear someone say, oh, we used to talk all the time and then we slowly just, drift apart, I don't hear from them that often. We don't hang out as often. I don't share personal things with them and vice versa. 9 times out of 10, that points to you guys just being in different places in life, which is going to happen. I'm not even going to pretend that it doesn't hurt, because it does. But I've learned at this point not to take it personally. I remember when I went to my first wedding as an adult, one of my best friends got married. And when I walked to my car from her ceremony, there was like this overwhelming feeling. I can't really describe it, but I could feel like a planetary shift happening in my life. I think I felt deeply scared, and my gut knew that our friendship would change from that day on. And so she's been married for like a year and some change, maybe 2 years this year. And this is somebody that I've known since I was like 15. We used to talk every day. We used to hang out very often. Now we don't. And I started to see her like post on Facebook, hanging out with her other friends who have children, other friends that are married. And my first initial reaction was purely coming from my ego, which was saying, oh, she doesn't like you, she traded you for new friends, blase, blase. And I had to put myself in her shoes. That's number one. And number two, I decided to have an uncomfortable conversation with her. I called her and I told her, hey, I'm really happy for you. I hope you're doing well. I just want you to know that I miss you. And I've been struggling with losing you as a very close friend. And she broke down and she was like, I'm so grateful that you even talked to me about it, because it's been hard for me to get married and have my friends feel like I don't care about them anymore. And so me being able to be vulnerable with her in that moment just solidified that it wasn't a friendship breakup. There was absolutely no malice there. We just drifted apart, and that's what life will do as you get older. But the mutual respect and love that I have for her and vice versa doesn't go anywhere. It still exists. So I guess my underlying message from this is that if you find that someone that you once were extremely close to and you measured that by how often you would see them, how often you guys would hang out, if that dynamic changes due to major life changes and developments between either of you, the love that you have for that person doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't disappear. It just evolves and it changes. Give people the space and the permission to grow and evolve throughout life, as you will too. And hopefully that helps you come to terms with a friendship breakup or drifting apart.
Have y'all ever quietly quit a friendship? Like you pulled a Houdini and you were never to be seen again? Not messy, there's no drama, we just silently quit. Just because you stop being friends with someone doesn't mean there needs to be beef. Like, it really mean that the friendship has run its course, it's over, go your way, I go my way, and that's it. If you see them in public or if they see you in public, you keep it cute, you keep it classy, you keep it respectful, and you go your separate ways. And I think that's all a part of growing and maturing and being an adult. And I know you're gonna have people in the comments who are gonna be like, well, you could have talked it out, you could have had healthy communication. Well, what if I'm tired of talking it out? What if I ain't got nothing else to say? What if you don't have anything else to say to them? You're just over the friendship. Let it be. Stop trying to force stuff that's not supposed to be into your life. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely painful. Like, you're sad, like that was your friend. But at the end of the day, it's better to let go of a friendship that doesn't serve you anymore than to hold on just because of time and history and because of the past. Like, don't do that.
Say less. Beware of narcissism in non-romantic relationships. Are you in a friendship where there's a constant need for your attention? Always calling you, texting you. The focus is always their problems. Whenever you hang out, they have to vent. They have to update you. They need to talk things through to you. And then when it's your turn to share your experiences, you might get like a 2-second explanation, a very short response, and then it goes back to their situation. A narcissistic friend will use manipulation tactics to try to control you and keep you in the friendship because they are very aware that they need you more than you need them. You may be in a narcissistic friendship, but keep watching so we can know for sure. Have you ever tried to confront this friend about something that they did to you and they take zero accountability and instead try to guilt trip you with asking you questions, rhetorical questions, because they don't really want to know the answer? A narcissistic friend has a hard time with empathy. When they're going through something, you try to check in on them. You're very empathetic. You try to come up with resources and solutions to try to help them. But when you're going through something, they find it very hard to do the same thing. Manipulation tactics can look like flattery, guilt tripping, deceit, but they'll just do whatever they need to do to get whatever they want from you. A narcissistic friend will intentionally overload you with information. This is another manipulation tactic. They know that this will overwhelm you, and then when we're overwhelmed, you will shut down. And once you have shut down, they're able to utilize your strengths in the way that they want to because you don't even have the energy to fight. A narcissistic friend will constantly violate your boundaries, whether this is intrusive questioning, not being conscious of your time, like always showing up late while you're sitting at dinner waiting for them for 30 minutes. Last but certainly not least, the narcissistic friend will stonewall you when confronted. When you try to confront them about something, they could use tactics like unfollowing you, not answering your calls, not texting you, just outright ignoring you so that they can avoid to take accountability for the thing that you're confronting them with. And then they'll come back and try to be friends again when they feel like you've gotten over it. Narcissistic friendships will literally suck the life out of you. They are extremely draining. They affect your mental health, your productivity levels, your rest, and sometimes the way you view yourself and your self-worthiness. If you feel like you are in a narcissistic friendship, it may be time to reevaluate.
Something that nobody talks about when it comes to grief and loss of a friendship is that you gonna think about that person a lot. You gonna think about them every single day. When we have grief around other things, such as
a person who is still alive that you're no longer in contact with, or, you know, a relationship, a significant relationship that has ended, there's still that same grief process, right? Like, there still is like that deep sadness and wishing that things were different and difficulty accepting that you have lost something. Also, that experience of thinking about that thing that you have lost a lot. And for me, I feel like that's been one of the most difficult parts to be honest about with my grief experience of pulling out of contact with my very close friend, was that, I don't know, I guess there's a part of me that's just like, oh, this was just a friendship. You should be over it by now. Why are you still thinking about this? Why are you still thinking about this person? And from a recent session that I had with my therapist, I had to like really just have some grace for myself, because I'm going through an active grieving process. It makes sense that I still think about this thing that I have lost, this person, this relationship, that I still think about it a lot. Especially in a society where we're kind of like conditioned to place less value on friendships, even though they mean so much to us. Like, we know that they mean a lot to us. We're still conditioned to put them like in this secondary place to romantic relationships. So it's almost like there's really no like script for how to interact with the world, or how the world will interact with you when you are going through the grief experience of losing a friend. So for me, that means that a lot of this experience has been private. I just keep it to myself. I don't really talk about it, even to my therapist. Sometimes I feel like I'm like getting on her nerves because of how much I want to talk about it. But the reality is, in many ways, I still feel very much in the throes of grief when it comes to this friendship. So if there's anybody else out there who is either where I'm at right now or has been where I'm at right now, and you're still really struggling with losing like a very significant friendship, please know that you're not alone in that. I'm deep in that shit with you, and I know how it is. Like, this shit is tough. Okay, I didn't quite understand sliding down the wall, throwing up, until this friendship that I had dissolved. It is a huge visceral loss to lose a friend. But we are going to work together. We're going to partner together to be kind to ourselves, to show compassion to ourselves, to be patient with ourselves, even if the world is ready to move on from this and feels like it's pushing us to move on from this. We can take the time that we need for ourselves. So I'm going to encourage you to do that. I'm going to work to do that for myself as well.
Not because I silently cut you off doesn't mean we got beef. What it means is I'm tired of addressing stuff. I'm tired of explaining what you have done and how it made me feel. You know what you did. It's just that this time around, I refuse to address what you knowingly do. So no, sweetheart, we do not have beef. We just have two different views of what friendships should be. And that's okay. I want to see you eat, just not at my table. Mwah.
I'm the type of person where once me and you are done being cool, I'm not checking for you. Like, I'm not watching you from no fake pages. I'm not lurking to see what you got going on. I'm not wishing you nothing but the best, honestly and truly, unless it's real beef between us. But even then, like, I'm too old to be just going back and forth with somebody. You feel what I'm saying? It could get there, but I would prefer it not to. I'm just not that person. Like, I give people so many chances, and at some point I reach my breaking point. That could just be the Pisces in me. I don't know. But I give people chance after chance after chance. And so when we finally get to the place where I'm just respectfully cutting you off, or I'm okay with us departing, I'm fine. That don't mean that it's beef. That don't mean that it's up with us. That don't mean anything other than the fact that we just grew apart as friends, and I'm not here for you anymore. Just that simple.
Okay, so you want to know how to end a friendship without hurting their feelings. I think the short answer is I don't think you're ever going to be able to end a friendship that was meaningful and worthwhile without people's feelings getting hurt. It just is what it is, right? But what you can do is be honest with them. And you can literally just say in a nice way the things in which they did or didn't do that really led to you not wanting them to be your friend. And it's hard to hear for some people because obviously
people have egos. People often, see themselves in a better light than they might actually be in. And so it can be hard to tell them things when they have zero self-awareness. But yeah, what I would do for a friend that you want to just end your friendship with, just be like, hey, I'm grateful for the time that we've had as friends, but, I think that we're maybe moving in different directions. And, I think it's best that we maybe take a break from, being friends with each other. And of course, you can offer up, the reasons why, but you don't always have to. And I think there are cases in which that is a smart thing to do. And that case is if they were like a terrible, toxic, mean, abusive friend to you, you can just literally erase them from your life. They don't deserve an explanation from you. They haven't really been that terrible and you just kind of don't really want them as a friend anymore. Then I think, giving them a reason as to why is definitely the kind and courteous thing to do, especially if like you guys shared a good set of, laughs and memories and times together. I think giving them kind of the reasons why will stop them from being like, oh my God, what did I do? Am I terrible? Is it this, this, and this? And racking their brains about, what could have possibly went wrong in your friendship. Regardless of how you choose to address ending your relationship or your friendship, I think what you need to understand is that if you do it with kindness, if you do it, with the utmost respect, however they respond is on them and it's not on you. Please remember that people's reactions to you are not your responsibility. And so you have to do what's best for you. At the end of the day, if they've been a shitty friend, then that means they've been doing what was best for them the entire time without any thought of you. So I hope this helps. If you have any other questions, definitely let me know. And yeah, I'm sorry that you have to end a friendship with somebody. It's never easy.
So as you have heard, it's hard grieving the loss of a friendship, and we don't talk enough about that grief and loss we feel. Sometimes that loss feels just as painful as experiencing the actual death of a loved one. It's okay to feel your feelings and most importantly, allow yourself to go through that grieving process. And just remember that, like any other grief, it's hard. But if there's anything I've learned about it, it's that grieving the loss of a friendship is also an opportunity to self-reflect and to learn from our mistakes and move forward with a new perspective and healthy boundaries that we can bring into new friendships. How you choose to end your friendship is completely a personal choice. Whether you have a conversation with that person to let them know you are moving on from the friendship, or if you decide to quietly quit the friendship or just downright cut them off, there will still be a level of grief that you may go through. If you have been experiencing or considering a friendship breakup, but you don't know what to feel, I want to share 5 tips on a few things that gets me through the experience each time I've gone through it. So first, you want to allow yourself to feel the pain. Grieving is a natural process that requires time and space, and it's okay to feel sad, angry, or hurt. Give yourself the permission to experience these emotions and don't rush the healing process. Second, you'll want to reflect on the past. Take some time to think about what went wrong in the friendship. Did you have different values, or did something happen that caused the rift? Reflecting on the past can help you identify patterns and make better decisions in the future. Third, you'll want to reach out for support. Losing a friendship can feel isolating, but I want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to reach out to a professional, such as a therapist or a counselor, or other friends or family members who can support you or give you a shoulder or a new perspective. And fourth, the most important thing is to practice self-care. Self-care is going to look different for everyone, but taking care of yourself is essential during the grieving process. So make sure you eat well, exercise, and get enough rest. And make sure you still include activities that bring you joy and that can help you relax. And number 5, you want to give yourself grace and time to heal. Healing from a friendship breakup takes time, okay? Especially as we get older and friendships become more precious. Be gentle with yourself. Avoid rushing the healing process and allow yourself to slowly move forward. Remember, grieving the loss of a friendship is a normal process that takes time. Be kind to yourself and trust that healing will come with time. Focus on building yourself back up and creating a life that brings you happiness and peace. And don't forget to watch out for my next video because we are diving into how to make friends as an adult. Also, don't forget to download my free life audit worksheet so you can do a deep dive and start looking at and auditing the friendships and relationships you have in your life and make the necessary adjustments if needed. I'll have it linked for you below and in the first pinned comment. Tell me in the comments what advice you have to give on this topic or share your experiences below. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.